There he is. What's up, brother? Hey, bro, can you hear, I know it's awkward because we're the only ones on this live right now, but can you hear the music that I'm playing at the moment? Can you let me know? Oh, we've got Jacob, we've got James, Robert, Ogilvy, Bill, we've got Tala, Telo. What's up, fellas? Just wait for a few more to join, and then I'll share some of this knowledge. Can't hear the music. Okay, cool. That's good. The music's playing in my headphones. That's good. Because I don't think people will appreciate. I don't think people will appreciate the music that I've got playing in my headphones right now. It's a little bit of ons from the 90s. Don't ask me why. I just do. All right. There he is. What's up, Tony Law? What are some good sales closes to use in any selling situation with any customer? Welcome to day 25 of 30 days of live content sales training with me, Joey Nanai of Nanai Consulting. What's up, Loma? Gomitio le mau sugar Yosefa. What's up, brother? Also known as Omer Chips. Okay, guys. So here's a few closes that you can use. You've done a bit of a sales pitch to whoever it is you're doing a sales pitch to, whether that be trying to convince somebody of your idea, trying to exchange goods for other goods, or trying to get money off somebody for the service or product that you provide, or trying to get funding, trying to get sponsorship, whatever it is. You're trying to convince somebody else that you have something of value that they could use, or they need, or they want. I'm just going to share a few sales closes that I've used over the years in basic selling situations where I've sat in front of a decision maker. It's always a decision maker. It's never a gatekeeper. Gatekeepers are receptionists whose job it is to screen people from meeting with decision makers or talking to decision makers and wasting their time. Decision makers come in the form of budget holders or people who have the money in the business that you are trying to partner with, or you're trying to sell an idea or a concept to. You're trying to get your business in there. You may be selling security services and trying to convince the owner of a business or a decision maker of a business to hire your services. So all of the above, right? Let's just start with a few closes or a few sales closes. This sales close in particular can be used towards the end of any sales conversation, any selling situation. And it's called a scale of 1 to 10 close. And it goes a little something like this. Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your new, so you fill in the gap, machine, car, product or service, right? Mr. Customer, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your new product or service? They give you the answer, and then you ask them a good follow-up question, which is, okay, what would make it a 10? So be wary that in this close, sometimes people can be sold on anything less than a 10. So they don't have to be at a 10 in order for you to close it, right? Some people sold on a 6, some people sold on a 7, some people sold on an 8 or a 9. Doesn't have to be a 10. And they'll let you know. And that can be used at the end of any selling situation or any situation where you're trying to convince somebody. Here's another one that you can use. It's called the check close. And it's kind of a soft close during your presentation or your selling process, where you're having a conversation or a discussion with your prospect or your client, and you say something like, would there be any other changes or additions you'd like me to make on your car, your machine, before we come to an agreement on the figures? That's a check close. So that's checking to see where they're at, checking to see whether they're ready to close, checking to see whether they're ready to do a deal, whether they're ready to move forward to the next step. Minor point close, so this comes in the form of a series of questions. So the minor point close goes a little something like this. Say, for instance, you're trying to sell a product, a physical product, and you say to the customer during your presentation or during your conversation with them, you could be a retail store worker, you could be someone that's trying to sell a machine, really. Do you like the color? Do you like the size? Can you see yourself using it on a daily basis? Could you see yourself using it weekly? Let's get it wrapped up. That's a minor point close right there. Another one that you may come across, or you would come across in any situation, is the think about it. Or I want to think it over. It's typically when a customer says, oh, I like what you're saying, Jacob. I really like your product, but I want to think it over. Right? And there's many ways to answer this, actually. Many closes for this particular objection. Think it over, or think about it. And one is, I understand, and as a consumer myself, I've had the same thing, at which time I, A, didn't want to confront the salesperson, B, didn't want to disappoint the salesperson, or C, there was a concern that still hadn't been addressed. Jacob, which one is it for you? When you ask a question in any sales conversation, shut up as soon as you've asked the question. Shut up and let them answer. If you try and fill the gap as soon as you have asked the question and don't at least give a pause, you lose. You lose credibility because you didn't give the customer an opportunity to answer the question, and you will come off as an annoying prick because you've just wasted their time. You've not shown any respect for their time by being an amateur. It's the amateurs that fill the gaps, right? As soon as they've asked a question. So the first person to answer the question or to speak after the question's been asked, or the first person to speak when there's a pause, is the one who's given up the control. So you're in control when you're, one, asking questions, and two, listening. So yeah, that is one way to handle the think about it. Another one could be, let's have a look. Okay, so intelligence close. So this is when you kind of butter them up. And it goes a little something like this. Hey, Sass, I need to think about it. And then you immediately answer with, Sir, you are one of the most intelligent people that's ever sat across from me. And you know, you have a lifetime comprised of intelligent and well thought out decisions. This will be another intelligent decision. Let's do this. And then hand in the pen, push over the contract or you're offering, and get them to sign. Another close could be, and a nice easy one. It requires a little bit of confidence and assertiveness. It's called the paperwork close. So you get to a point where you, as a salesperson, you're in your mind, you're going, okay, this person's ready to buy. They've given me all the buying signals. They've given me their dominant buying motive. They've given me hot buttons that I've pushed on, and now it's time. Whose name will we be putting the paperwork in? That's the paperwork close. Whose name will we be doing the paperwork in? Simple but effective. Here's one that has stood the test of time, and there's 3 yeses close. Did I answer all your questions, Mr. Customer? Were we easy to get to, Mr. Customer? Am I the type of person you feel comfortable serving you? Good. Then I need your okay here. You've got to find your own style and way of asking these questions. Don't just do it verbatim. Don't just do it word for word. Find your own way of asking these questions. You can actually tailor it to suit your style of communicating. Right? So don't just say it word for word. Referral close. So you could get into a situation where you've got into a point where you've given your proposal, they've looked it over, and everything's looking good, but you're kind of jumping the gun. Because usually the way referrals work is you give value, or there's an exchange of your service or product with their money or whatever, and then once you've done a good job or they've experienced the product for themselves, you're in a position to ask for a referral. Whereas this referral close can happen beforehand. So, Mr. Customer, before we get involved with the figures, who do you know that may be in the market for a machine like this? Someone that's interested in XYZ, similar to you? Simple, right? Simple but effective. Row. We'll never let, oh, I mean, chokes. Otai, what's up, brother? Ben Vaughan, I see you, brother. Hope you're well, mate. That's a good one. Then you just say, well, my company or business can exceed that 7 to a 10. No, I was also going to use that one. Yeah, so that one, Sass, the one you're talking about, the scale 1 to 10, it's a very effective one. Very effective, because it's kind of like a thermometer, so you can see where they're at. You can use it in any part of the sales conversation, really. That particular close, the scale of 1 to 10. So yeah, go ahead, go hard, go use it. Nick Schuster, what's up, brother? Who else we got? Mr. Wolf Crab. What's up, brother? One that is used in many sales situations. It's got different names, but for this particular live, we'll call it the scarcity close. Everyone uses it. Everyone who sells a product or service, they actually use it. Some use it without even knowing they're using it. The scarcity close, it goes a little something like this. As you are aware, SAS, there is a limited availability of this machine. There's a huge demand for the product, and I want to ensure that you're able to get what you want. So let's get the paperwork done so I can ensure that you're able to get one before the shipping container fills up. Let's do this. So you're kind of placing a deadline, but not actually giving a date. What you've done is you've kind of said to them, look, we haven't got that many in stock. It's a while stocks last kind of scenario. If you don't get in now, you may lose out. What's another one? Here's one of the most powerful ones, and I'll share with you now. One of the most powerful closes, sales closes that you can use in any situation. You can use it with your kids, you can use it with your spouse, you can use it with your boss, you can use it with a prospect, you can use it with colleagues. You can use it with anybody who you come across and you need to convince them of taking action on something. You need to convince them on exchanging something with you. It comes in various styles. There's a lot of gurus out there and sales leaders out there who have different ways of using this, but it's called the takeaway close. The takeaway close goes a little similar like this. So, look, SAS, let me suggest that you don't do this right now. If you come back tomorrow, take some time, take the night to think about it, and come back tomorrow. If somebody already steps up and the machine or the product is now spoken for, you'd have to take that as a sign from the gods that it wasn't meant for you. After that, you pause. So after saying that, you pause, right? And the pause is when you just sit back and you relax and wait. Because this is when they say in their minds, they're selling themselves at this point in their minds. It's all psychological. They're telling themselves, oh, flip. Shit, I need to make a move on this because it's going to go away. And that's why it's called the takeaway close. Because you'd already sold yourself on the product as the buyer, as the client or the customer. And now this person is hinting at taking it away from you, because you've now, in your own mind, you've convinced yourself, oh, this is already my product. This is my car. This is my machine. This is my iPod. This is my Jordan sneakers. And for the seller to be standing or sitting in front of you or talking on the phone to you and saying, look, if you don't act on this now, it's going to go. You're going to make a move, aren't you? Of course you are. And now you've got a bit of urgency to buy. So that's what the takeaway close does. It's really powerful. What's another good one that I could use, that I could share with you guys? Reduce to the ridiculous. So this is a really, really technical one that you need a lot of skill to execute. in terms of the way you communicate this particular close, reduced to the ridiculous close. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to sell a physical product, right? Or you're trying to sell something that's going to cost, so a high ticket item. You're trying to sell a car, you're trying to sell a machine, you're trying to sell a laptop, you're trying to sell, furniture, whatever. And in order to pay it off, it's going to cost the customer, let's say for argument's sake, $1,000 a month. So you say to the customer, says $1,000 a month, it's only $30 a day. You've got to be using this machine every week, every day, in a place where you already eat, sleep, and breathe your business. You'll create thousands of dollars in more cash flow, and you'll be able to grow your business. All for what? $30 a day? Come on, that's ridiculous. Let's do this. So bringing that $1,000 a month objection that they have, which they're looking at like, oh, $1,000 a month, and bringing it down to the day, what it costs them per day. You could even go further than that and say how much it costs per hour or per minute or per second, just to get that cost right down in a way for them to go, okay, I am being a bit ridiculous. That's what, 5 or 6 coffees a day. That's not easy. That's not bad. What's another one? Here's one so typically buyers, when they get to a point where they feel a little bit of pressure or they don't know how to say no to you, because a lot of buyers don't. They won't say no to you up front. They won't say the actual word no. They'll use what is called an unavailable party or third party that doesn't even exist. I've got to talk to my manager, I've got to talk to the board, I've got to talk to my boss, I've got to talk to I've got to talk to my business partner, I've got to talk to my neighbor, I've got to talk to my wife, whatever. They could use any of these variations and others as well. So, the buyer agrees to ownership at the figures that you and the conditions that you spelled out, and delivery is subject only to the unavailable party's approval. Is that fair? So this is what you want to be saying to the prospect. You actually want to be saying this. Is that fair? So, and you've got to answer the question, is that even fair? Another one is, and this is one that has stood the test of time as well. A lot of older folks, like grandparents, they tend to tell their grandkids or sell their grandkids on material things. And it's called the can't take it with you clause. This is when a customer says to you something like, hey, that's a lot of money. That's very expensive. You're asking for a lot of money there. So the way it goes is, I agree it's a lot of money. But let's face it, can't take it with you. Let's do this. By saying the words you can't take it with you, what it essentially means is, sure, it's a lot of money. But when you die, you can't take it with you. How's that, guys? Is that enough? What's up, Marina? What's up, Full Dog? Or what would it cost the business to not have that product? Yeah, that's a good one, Marina. what would it cost the business to not have that product? Yeah. Or what's the cost of doing nothing? Kia ora, Tommy. What's up, Jim? From over there in London. So, Jen, I'm not sure how much you've caught of this, but I'm just sharing a few sales closes with you all that you can use in any situation with any customer, any type of buyer. This is just to get them to act, get them to move forward with you, to do something with you. Here's one. So customer says to you, sorry, mate, this is not a good time. It's not a good time for us to do something like this. And then you could say something like, Mr. Customer, there's never a best time to make this decision, as you'll always have things going on. Let's do this now. You're going to do it sooner or later. Let's get this handled so you can start benefiting from it right now. I need your signature here and here. See, all these closes, they require confidence, a huge bit of self-belief and confidence. So that's why I always say to my mentees, I always say to people who I train in sales, the sales techniques and the closing material, the skills, that's the easy part of sales. The hard part is what goes on in here, and the behaviors and the attitude. So selling yourself on your product and your service and being absolutely convinced in your own ability, that is the biggest barrier for a lot of people, because a lot of people sell themselves off selling and believe the negative connotations of society telling us that sales is bad, or sales people are bad. Selling is bad. You've got to be manipulative. You've got to be a liar. You've got to be a cheater. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to be pushy. I refute that 100%. It's the amateurs that are doing all those things. Because why? Because they haven't taken the time to learn their craft. They haven't practiced, drilled, and rehearsed. They haven't actually taken the time to learn how to sell properly, ethically, professionally. Another one. So here's one that kind of is a bit of a flip on your Marina. Justify a close. It's a simple one-question close. It's, how do you justify an investment of this size? That's a close. That's a closing technique. How do you justify an investment of this size? And then shut up and wait for the answer. Ethically is so important. Yes, it is indeed. Totally is. Also, selling with noble purpose really is powerful. You don't have to verbalize your noble purpose, but salespeople, studies have shown that salespeople who have a noble purpose behind their selling and their approach to sales, they do better than people who don't have a noble purpose. For instance, your noble purpose could be, as part of your offering, it could be you want to keep people safe. You want to stop people from getting ripped off. You want to help people avoid and mitigate risk. You want to help business owners see around the corner. You want to make sure that business owners and business leaders are being ethical with their staff, with their customers. These are all noble selling purposes that you could incorporate into whatever it is you're doing. I'll share a few more with you guys, but if there's any closes that resonate with you and you'd like to learn more about, please send me a message. I'll be more than happy to talk through it with you. Another good one is the treat yourself close. So of course it's a lot of money. This isn't something you do every day, Marina. Treat yourself. I need your okay here and here. Do it anyway, close. I agree it's a lot of money. Do it anyway. I understand this is over budget. Do it anyway. I know it's 3 times more expensive than the next one. Do it anyway. You know, the do it anyway close comes with, it's for those customers who question everything. And the questions that they're just stalls. So you've got to learn the difference between a stall and an actual objection. Some objections are identified as objections when they were just a complaint. Know the difference between a complaint and an objection. 2 different things. Okay. Here's one that gets used by every, if not most, salespeople, business owners, and just people in general, really, who are trying to sell a bigger solution or bigger product or bigger offering. So say, for instance, you've got something that is a monthly subscription, but you want to sell the customer on a 3-year, 5-year, or 10-year term, right? You want to have that long-term relationship, or you want to lock them in for 3, 5, or 10 years. And it requires a monthly payment or monthly investment. You could use what is called, by a lot of salespeople and gurus around the world, the puppy dog close. And the puppy dog close goes a little something like this. Marina, let me suggest that you take delivery and try it out for a month. At the end of the month, you decide whether it's the right thing for you or not. If you decide it's not, then ship it back and no problem. That's the puppy dog close. Another cheeky close that I have for you guys is called the do it for me close, right? This is when a customer is stalling. They're obviously stalling. They can't seem to make up their mind, or you know for sure it's something they need. Your product is something they need, but they can't seem to take action. You could say something like this, the do it for me close. Marina, if you can't do it for you, and you can't do it for your husband or your kids or your company, then I'm going to have to ask you to do it for me. I'll need your okay here and here. So the psychology behind the do it for me close, right, is why the hell would you do something for a salesperson you've only just met or you haven't known that long compared to your loved ones or your company? Of course you're going to say, hell no, I'm not doing it for you. I'll do it for my wife. I'll do it for my husband. I'll do it for my kids. I'll do it for my grandkids. I'll do it for my company. I'll do it for them before I ever do it for you. So immediately you're kind of, as a buyer, you're immediately wanting to move forward and take action in spite of doing it for the salesperson. Or you could be doing it for the salesperson because you feel some bit of humanity. You feel like a humanitarian. You want to help the salesperson out, which is cool. That's up to you. Summary close. David Drum, what's up? Koko, Maddie Artinga, Risey. Summary close. Let me remind you of what we are giving you here, and then you go through all the points, right? Summarize point 1, summarize point 2, summarize point 3. Then after you've given the summary, so these are things that they've indicated to you, they verbalized to you already that they need, or they confirmed with you that they need. That's a summary clause. Another good one is the Ben Franklin clause. And it goes a little something like this. Matty, I understand how hard it is for you to make a decision. And it's said that Ben Franklin, when faced with big decisions, would write out the pros and the cons of the decisions so he can get an accurate evaluation of the right thing to do. So tell me, Matty, what are the pros and cons of this purchase? What are the pros? What are the cons? Write them out. If the pros outweigh the cons, we do business. Simple. A lot of companies these days, they have board executives who still use the Ben Franklin clause to close themselves on why they should do business with other companies. So, this reminds me the other day, I went into an office and I met with a board, and during the conversation, I laid out up front kind of the rules of, or the game plan, and part of the game plan was at the end of the meeting, they were going to give me a yes or a no. And what I didn't want them to give me was a think it over, we'll come back to you next week, we'll deliberate. I didn't want anything like that. So I said to them, if that's the case, then just let's call it a no, and I'll be on my way. What they tried with me in this particular meeting, they tried to give me this is not a simple situation. We're going to have to think this over and talk it through and come back to you, Joey. And, I had already got agreement from them that they'll give me a yes or no at the end of the meeting. And when they tried that, I said to them, no, we had an agreement. I'll wait outside. You guys can talk it over. Take as long as you like. I'll wait outside. And they made me wait for a good half hour before they made a decision. I got the deal. I mean, I got the, you got the opportunity, got the agreement, got the nod. And this was purely because of the fact that they used the Ben Franklin clause to, so they went through the pros of my company's service versus the cons of my company service, and the pros outweighed the cons, so they went with it. What else we got on here? I'll share one more with you guys, and it's one that, it's one that it's been around for the longest time. And it's basically when value exceeds the price. So this is when a customer tells you your competitors are cheaper. So this is when a customer paints your solution or your offering in the same light as all your competitors. Again, they try to use the competitor who may be the incumbent or who they may have met with as a way to get your pricing down, right? So this is when you start selling value to justify the price. And the close goes a little something like this. David, I understand, and I assure you that there's a great deal of difference between what I deliver and what my competitor delivers. Once you see what that is, once you taste what that actually is, you'll see that I actually offer more value than what they presented to you. And once value exceeds price, David, I think you'll agree that price is no longer the issue. Please sign here and here. I'll leave you guys with that. But that's just a few closes that I've used over the years, and it's really helped me advance the sale, either to signed contract, a handshake, a yes, we'll do business with you, yes, we'll grant you the funding, yep, we'll be your sponsors kind of decisions. Thanks for joining me on day 25. See you real soon for day 26. Cheers, guys.